It is a real thrill for me to welcome this lady because I'm proud to say that she and her husband Charlie and I have gotten to be, I think I can say this publicly, really good friends. And she also happens to be talented cowgirls with a rope in her hand in the history of the country, I think. Jackie Crawford joins us. Welcome. Getting ready for another trip to the National Finals breakaway roping.
Yes, getting ready for a very big week, or big 2 weeks, 3 weeks for me out there in Vegas. So yeah.
Let's start right there, Jackie, because the breakaway roping finals
Mhm.
are December 3rd and 4th, but I'm willing to bet that somewhere between Texas and Las Vegas, there's going to be a stop in Arizona at the Kimes Ranch roping. And then there are multiple ropings after the National Finals breakaway roping is over. This
Yeah.
really is kind of there's a lot of money on the line for you ladies.
Yeah, this is definitely life-changing money coming up here for us. I mean, this is what we the Kimes Ranch is paying kind of like the guys in FR, and so that is a huge thing for us. So that's our first stop is in Scottsdale at that, and we're going at almost $30,000 rounds and $70,000 average. I mean, that's something we've never seen before, so that's cool. And then we leave there, we go straight to our NFR there at the South Point, and we leave there, and then there's several rope-ins, like Rope for the Crown is at the end of the week. That's a great rope-in, and then lots of stuff going on. I mean, and big money on the table for us.
Um, so how do you logistically talk to me about horses and things like that? Have you got the WPRA, the bio on your WPRA bio lists two, Kevin and a horse called Backtrack. Um,
Mm-hmm.
which ones are you going to ride? Are there a couple listed there?
Actually, neither one of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I actually ended up selling Kevin at the beginning of the summer, which was kind of one of the craziest things I've done. And trust me, at times throughout the summer, I was kicking myself and wishing I sure had him because we do each other so well. But Backtrack is what I started off on. That's what I went Houston on. And so we just kind of got in a groove, and that's what I took off on in the summer. And I took my mare Hail Mary that I've been hauling for about a year, little over a year now. This was the second year, I guess, that she's gotten to go to places. And so, and then actually both of those horses got a little crippled this summer. And I ended up having to jump on a friend, Larry D. Guy and Hope Thompson had a roan horse. He's a 6-year-old that was just a really, really cool horse. And I just jumped on him out there and got some good wins on him and got along with him really good. And I guess I bugged him enough. They finally sold him to me. So wow. I'm really excited about that. So I got some, I honestly, I'm sitting here and I rope every day on some really great horses. And I'm still actually putting them in line as to who's going to go out there and do what. I'm getting down to my practice sessions now, where this week I've got all hands on deck and we're setting up the barrier and we're pushing calves, and I'm going to make about 4 or 5 runs on each horse each day. And come Sunday evening, I'll make the call which one's getting the trailer Monday.
Got it. This is going to be a little bit different because you start roping before Thanksgiving starts over in Scottsdale.
Yeah, it is different. Yeah, we're packing up, and all of us, Charlie, the kids, everybody's going, and we're going to have Thanksgiving. Hopefully we have Thanksgiving, fill our bellies, and then go win a pocket full of money and celebrate again the next day.
Yeah. Let me ask you about your 2024. It started big time in March when you won $50,000 at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. You had never won Houston before. And I remember listening to the interview that you did in the arena with, I think, Boyd Paul Hamus when all that was said and done. And it was an emotional deal to you. I thought, just listening to what you had to say. Think back on that.
And that's, we've had Houston now for 3 years. I think the girls have gotten a breakaway there, I believe is correct.
Yeah.
3 or 4 years, but I think it was 3 years. And it's just one of those deals that, as more of these opportunities come up, for us girls, there's things that I always add to my bucket list, right? I just keep adding every year. I have more goals and things that I want to check off a list. And that was, of course, one of them. And so to be able to accomplish that a lot of people go there their whole lives and don't get the win there. And so to be able to say that I won Houston before I'm done with my rodeo career that just to me was like, man, I'm so lucky to get to experience the first that I've gotten to experience in my lifetime and in my rodeo career. I mean, to be able to put that one up, and me and Charlie both have a Houston saddle here at the house, right? In our trophy area, it's pretty special.
Um, you won the American a couple of years ago. That was $600,000. You talk about life-changing money. How did that impact you?
Well, I won it 2 years in a row, and the first year I won 100 and something thousand, and I thought, holy smokes, like it just doesn't get better than this, right? Like that was just unbelievable money to us and to my family. And then to come back the very next year and they say, hey, Breakaway is eligible for the million. And I'd had one of those years that wasn't so great rodeoing, so I wasn't in the top 5. And it just kind of all played out in God's plan. And to be able to come through as a challenger and win it 2 years in a row and split that $660,000 is the check I got to take to the bank. And I'm telling you, I was shaking. I was shaking as I handed it to the teller, like, please, wind, do not take this away from me. It was just unbelievable to be able to say that I was a part of that first. And that amount of money, just, I can't tell you what it's done for Charlie and I and our kids' future. And that's unbelievable to me still to this day.
I started this interview asking you a lot of questions about money, and there's a reason for that. And that is, in your career, 23 world titles, and all the miles you put on and all the steers you've roped and the calves that you've roped, and you have seen, there might not be anybody who has seen the change and the opportunity reflected in being able to walk into your bank with checks for $100,000 one year and then $660,000 the next year, the way that you have. You've seen it go from where it was to where it is, and you now have the opportunity, Jackie, to see what the limitless potential might be. Am I getting too carried away with all of that?
No. I mean, it's truly, I mean, my mom sent me an article the other day, and there was a big news article that she had cut clippings of. And when I was in college, the biggest thing going back then was the U.S. Calf Roping Association that Lana Mangold had. And there was a big finals, and they had it right here in Stephenville. And they always had a semifinals to every roping and a finals. And so I came in 2002, I think. I was in college. I know that's telling on me, but I came in and I won the semifinals.
You're just a kid.
Turned around at the next day and won the finals. And I won a saddle, a trailer, and $6,000 over the weekend. And when I tell you, we thought that was as good as a breakaway roper was ever going to do it. I mean, you didn't see or think about to turn around and go from $6,000 to $660,000 within, I think it was exactly, 20 years. It was exactly 20 years. 2022 is when I won that, I believe. And so 20 years later, and it's like, holy smokes, like went from the biggest payday back then that we thought to the biggest payday, 2 decades later. And it's just like, holy smokes. I mean, where is the end for us? And I think it's so cool. For me, the cool part is I was a part of it when it was just because you loved it. I mean, I rodeoed and I roped because I loved it. I loved every part of it. I didn't care if I entered the team roping with the guys. I mean, before I ever thought that Breakaway would get to go to some of the rodeos that they did, I mean, I entered the team roping. I entered team roping at Salinas. I entered the team roping at Cheyenne strictly because I'm addicted to the adrenaline of roping. And I wanted to experience what it felt like to rope in those arenas. And then fast forward later and the breakaways added and all of us girls get to enter. And it's just like, this is the coolest ride ever. And it's been neat to see that it was strictly built out of a love for the sport. We did this before there was the money. You know what I mean? We drove all over the country spinning our wheels off before there was a prize. And so it strictly is just built off a heart and the love for the sport. And I think that's really cool to see. So
I did an interview the other day with Kelsey Domer, and we were talking about the national finals.
Who's that?
Yeah, she's
I'm just.
some girl that actually used to live at your house, I think. Yeah, and that we got to talk a little bit about. I think there's a road somewhere in the greater Stephenville, Texas area that should just be renamed Breakaway Roper Lane.
Yeah, there's been a few here for sure.
Sure. Kelsey roped together all the time. Shelby was either your next door neighbor, or now that she and Haven are helping out at Tarleton State, they're probably not too far away. I mean, there's a lot of breakaway roping that comes through your hometown.
Oh yeah, there's a ton. It's rodeo central anyways. There's a lot of all events around here, but we've been very fortunate to have some great talent that has come through here and got to rope and bounce ideas off of and learn from. And so, it's pretty neat to have that many people all with the same lifestyle and kind of what they want to do and love for the sport all in the same area.
Yeah. Jackie Crawford's joining us. Can I take you back to 2020? The very first national finals breakaway roping during the COVID year at Globe Life Field. There is Jackie Crawford, who I think is like 6 months along, getting ready to have a baby, kept the saddle horn off of her saddle and winning that very first breakaway finals. What was that like?
It was just, again, I don't know. I mean, I hope to goodness that God shows me one day why I'm getting to experience all these first, and I hope I fulfill that purpose, because just riding the wave. Steve, that's all I can say is I've always wanted to be at the forefront of everything. Like, if they were going to give an opportunity, I was going to be there and try to take full advantage and work my tail off. And, that's what I'd done for years and years and years. And I was actually on my horse that I'd rode for, at that time, like 10 years. And I knew that horse inside and out. And, the only thing my doctor's like, keep doing what you do every day until you don't feel comfortable. Your body's going to tell you, And the only thing that would like flash through my mind is, what if my horse stumbled, or what if something happened? And I was like, man, the only thing, he was like, it would take, a really hard impact to affect anything. And I was like, man, the only thing that would scare me is my saddle horn. That would be the only thing that would even cross my mind, And so I was like, well, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, I don't really need a saddle horn. So why wouldn't I just take that out of the equation? That way it's not even there. And then literally I have a higher chance of having a car wreck than my horse falling on me, So yep. I cut the horn off and figured it out. And we went. I never felt one bit unbalanced. I never felt unsafe. I never even crossed my mind. So it was just so crazy, because I really didn't know that I had a chance to win. I knew I was up there, but I really, we really didn't know who was going to do what. Martha Angelone was having a great finals. Jordan Joe was having a great finals. There were several girls that were having a great finals, and it was going to kind of come down to that. And I knew that I was winning the average on 4 or whatever. And then we had a call, and I had to flag myself out, because I'm like, hey, I had an illegal catch here. And Charlie, he was like, you're not going to get, I was freaking out because I thought I was going to get in trouble for going in the arena and talking to the judges and stuff. He's like, just go, and I'm like, I'm doing it. I go, they flagged me out. So I'm like, all right, we got to come back. And we had it figured. You got to win this round. You got to win X amount of money, this amount of money. And we did it. And I honestly, when the buildup came and they announced, we really didn't know. No one knew who won it. We thought it was between me and Martha, I think. And when they said it was me, I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, how surreal is that? And just how cool to just get to experience again a first, that was a first. And so it was just awesome.
The format that year, was it 8 rounds and then a semifinals and a final? Is that the way that it went?
Yeah. They did the turn at like the 8 rounds. No, wait. Yeah. I think, gosh, I have mom brain, Steve. I think it was the 8-man, 4-man format on the final 2.
Got it. I just want to emphasize something, because I had forgotten about this. There was a call that an official missed. You had an illegal head catch on one.
Yeah, I had a back in a run and they didn't catch it, which it's totally, it happens. You know what I mean? That's not, I'm not there, nobody's fault. It just happens. There's, right. We're human eyes and we're going off of something that happens that fast. I mean, we were roping them in 1.9 to 2 something seconds. And so it happened fast. I knew it happened. They didn't catch it. you know.
And you walked out in the arena and said, "Hey, you need to flag me out."
Yes, that you have to flag me out. You have to flag me out.
That doesn't happen in sports, Jackie. I don't know if you realize that or not, but that's like, a wide receiver saying that he pushed off on a defensive back to catch a pass. And I mean, that just does not happen in sports. I guess that's one of the cool things about, number one, your approach, and number two, our Western way of life and our rodeo industry, I guess.
Well, I know that I think that people are built differently and people think differently, but at the end of the day, I mean, I dang sure ain't gonna look in the mirror or look at a buckle or look at a saddle or look at an award or amount of money and be proud of it if it wasn't won fair and square. And so, that's just the way I look at it. I'd rather, when it comes to competition and stuff, like if you better play fair, I think it's all going to come back around in some way, shape, or form. So I don't want something I didn't deserve.
This national finals rodeo, you come in number 3, $135,498. That puts you a little less than $11,000 behind Shelby Medjid, the reigning world champion. Josie Connor had a spectacular year, I think. She's second, 139,000. She's about 7,000 behind Shelby and 3,600 more or less in front of you. Kelsey Domer's 4th, Taylor Munsel's 5th, Martha Angeloni's a world champion. She's 6th. She's only about 15,000 out. And then you go to Maddie Dearman, who only went to 61 rodeos. She went to the fewest rodeos of any finalist. And then you go down to Danielle Lohman, who is maybe as electric as any roper that we're going to be watching out of the 15. And then you go down. I mean, Maddie's at her first final. So's Riley George. And so is Tiata Gray. And so I just offered some numbers, but this is a loaded field top to bottom. Somebody asked me the other day, what do you think is going to happen to the breakaway finals? My answer was, I have no idea. I said, I think we're going to see a heck of a roping. You talk about the field that you're going to be roping with and against.
I mean, you just said it. Every one of those girls is phenomenal. I mean, I just think you're going to see an awesome 2 days of breakaway roping out there. I can say that. You're going to have people, because just like you said, from your people that just rope so consistent and so sharp and, are kind of trying to hold their spot, to your Danielle Lohmans that are going to be firing it. I mean, it's going to be really, really, really good watching. And the thing about it is, like you said, it's so unpredictable. I have no idea, because every one of those girls has a chance to be extremely fast and rope 10 out of 10 calves. So I have no idea. All I know is, blinders on, stay focused, and go at them one at a time, and everything will fall where it's supposed to fall. But it's going to be good watching.
Do you guys know the cattle yet, Jackie?
Yeah, actually we do. They're coming from California. They are, they're a matching set to the ones that we had the very first year when we were at the Orleans. They actually were like the tie down calves at Salinas, and a few of them went to Reno, and a few of them went to St. Paul and some place like that. So they're going to be really big. They are bigger than what you normally see us rope. John McGill has them out there, but he did a great job the very first year. It is going to be different than what we've been roping, and kind of what you see us rope a lot of. But I thought they ended up being a great set when we were at the Orleans the very first year, and he did a good job. So it'll be different for some girls though.
Okay, here's Steve's dumb question of the interview. The size of the cattle, what difference does that make, or does it? How much does that affect you ladies in the breakaway roping?
Some of us have different opinions about that. Some of the girls, and I'm not, no right, no wrong. It's just different opinions. Some of the girls don't want to rope bigger cattle. Personally, I don't care. It's not like we're trying to flank them. If everybody's got to rope them, they got to rope them. It's a calf. He's got 4 legs, got a neck, head, same rules, So it'll change things up a little bit, like the stride of the calf and maybe your loop size and a little bit of angles, depending on how big they get. But honestly, for me, it doesn't matter. As long as we're all roping them and they're all even, I don't think the size of the cow matters.
Yeah. Jackie Crawford's with us, and I just want everybody to understand, we're doing this interview at about 8:30 p.m. Jackie's got her kids taken care of, and Charlie's doing whatever. Charlie's actually doing his podcast in another room while Jackie and I are talking. And so I just want everybody to know, Jackie, you are so generous with your time, and I really do appreciate that. But I have a couple of final questions I want to ask you. One of them has absolutely nothing to do with breakaway roping, but we just got done. I just had the pleasure of announcing the team roping event that your husband Charlie had and you helped to start when you bought lunch for a bunch of veterans a lot of years ago. And I know this, I asked you about this a couple of years ago, and you really kind of said, this, don't give me credit for it. It's Charlie's.
Yeah.
But I also know that you're pretty proud of what he has been able to accomplish with that American Hero celebration, along with all the volunteers and the people that work with him and the entity that he's created. Um, Talk about that a little bit, and the unique opportunity rodeo has given you and your family to give back to those who served us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so proud of what Charlie's done with the organization. I mean, like you said, it started off with we just buying lunch for a group of veterans and military men and women, and talking about how small that is. You know what I mean? Like how little that is compared to what they do. And we went through a couple of years of putting on a free clinic to try to help them out. And then, like, as he headed into retirement, he just wanted to make it bigger. You know, he's got such a big heart for giving back, and I'm so proud that he was able to find a passion and something bigger than himself, bigger than rodeo, bigger than everything else, that he wants to give back. And man, he has just turned this thing into such a blessing. I can't tell you, I can't even get into the letters that he's received from people, and how much just something simple that's simple to us, but it's not simple to some of these men and women. Talking about that it's saved their lives, that they have something with horses now, that they've gotten into horses, they've gotten into roping, and it took them out of such a dark place that we know a lot of those men and women end up in after, coming away from serving. And some of his stories are really hard to listen to, but it's also like, wow, you found a purpose bigger than you. You've done an amazing job. He has turned it into its own foundation, not just him alone. There's a whole group of people, but I'm so proud of him. He had the foresight to say, hey, I need this in this group to make it grow. And he's gotten a group of people that have really worked hard. And he told me they crossed over the $1.2 million mark in giving back to veterans and first responders. And to me, that's so unselfish and just shows the heart that guy has. And I couldn't be more proud of him.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I gave you a chance just to talk about that and recognize what Charlie and the volunteers around him have done, and just to acknowledge the fact that you helped to start it. I mean, you've given a lot of the glory to him now, and but you helped to start it, so I think the whole family deserves a little credit for it.
Well, I appreciate it, but that, I'm telling you, I don't think anybody besides me and the family realizes just how hard he works at it. It takes a lot of his time that he gets nothing back except the satisfaction of serving, the Lord's purpose and what he feels that in his heart that he should do. And that's the only satisfaction he gets from it. And he works really hard at it and spends a lot of time at it. And it's a big thing for him. And so I'm really proud.
Jackie, please don't smack me the next time you see me for asking this question, but tell me about your future. What after this year? I mentioned that interview you did in Houston, and I forget exactly what you said, but there was a part of me that thought, please don't tell me you're thinking about slowing down after you had won that. What are your plans going forward?
Well, a lot of people throw out the word retirement. I'm not going to retire. I think that the time is coming for me to look at backing off. I want to rodeo like Maddie Dearman. Did you hear the rodeo count that you just said? Like that, yeah. I want to rodeo like Maddie Dearman. Okay. I don't want to have to go to, which this year we do have a rodeo count, so that's going to help. But, I think for me, in the place where we're at and where the kids are at and where my family's at, I mean, we've had to separate. It's really hard for us to separate all summer. We can't afford to all of us go together. Charlie's already done it. And now I'm getting to go, and I've gotten to go do this gone to all these rodeos I know we've only had an NFR since 2020, but I've been going for 7 years to these rodeos. Every time they'd open the gates for it, I'd be there, and so it's not that I'm going to retire. I just think that I'm probably going to back off on the number of rodeos. And if my winter goes great and it works out, great, but I'm not going to pack the family up and separate the family as much and as crazy as we have in the last few years. Just, I want to be able to stay home a little bit more. If Creed wants to play baseball, I want him to play baseball. I want him to have all the opportunities that I had. And, you know, and there's a lot of other things. There's so many things that we're very fortunate as breakaway ropers, because I think that so many people have seen the value in the numbers of the girls. And so we have a lot of opportunity outside of having to leave for months at a time, you know. And so I really want to do some of the futurity stuff. That stuff is really, I love riding horses and being a part of that. So I want to be more of a part of that, because that lets me be at home just a tick more and just kind of refocus, restructure a little bit. So maybe instead of 80 rodeos this year, I might go to 40 or 50. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we got a lot of things that we're still going to go to.
At the Gold Buckle Futurity in Abilene over the weekend, did I see that Bo Peterson won $97,000?
Yeah.
In 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
I mean, those futurities are blowing up, aren't they?
Yeah, they're huge. They're huge, and that is my favorite thing to do. I like to stay here at the house and ride colts even more than I like to go up and down the road and compete. And so to kind of look around and see that, I knew a few years back, like I couldn't do it all with the kids and the family and in my season of life. And so I had to like a little bit stay away from all that stuff and kind of have tunnel vision and not let myself, you know, my addiction get off into everything again. So, yeah, to be able to have 1 or 2 a year in that would just be so satisfying to me. And so, and worth the money. And, you know, for us now, we look at, you know, still being able to go rope at the Kimes Ranch, $1 million breakaway for all that money. And you don't have to go up and down the road all year and do, you know, there's just so many things, the American, the WPRA, the women's finals, there's so much opportunity that I feel like I could restructure a little bit and possibly be home a little bit more and let the kids have the home life a little bit more, because they don't know how lucky they are that they've gotten to go see the things that they've seen and do the things that they've done. But I want to make sure we're covering all bases. So
I started this talking a little bit about a couple of things that I read on your bio at WPRA.com, and I want to compliment the WPRA. Their bio, all of the information about all the qualifiers for the barrel race and the breakaway roping finals, it's up to date, it's current, it's they've got you listed in the Women's Professional Rodeo Association alone, not including the WCRA, not including the American, not including any of those events, at $958,609. And I shouldn't go here because I haven't completely gone back and looked, but I went and I looked at a number of other big name ropers and their career earnings. I think you're the closest of any roper in the WPRA, just in the WPRA, just in rodeo, to maybe going over $1 million. Did I give you a goal, another one of those first or four by bringing it to you?
Yeah, I had no idea. And so I love hearing stuff like that, because that always sparks like one more goal, one more first, one more, like it just sets a new goal. So to know that I'm 40, would you say 40? I'm 42,000 away.
Less than 42,000, 41,000 and change. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, 41,000 and change away from hitting the $1 million mark, and would possibly be the first roper to do that. Yeah, that's a new one. That's a new goal. Game on. I love it.
And if you add, and then I just want y'all to add in all the money at the American, over 700,000 and 250,000 in the WCRA. It's been a pretty good career, Jackie.
Yeah, I don't know where it is, but yeah, it sounds great.
Well, you own horses and you have children, so let's start there.
Yeah, exactly.
Jackie, happy Thanksgiving. Travel safe. Good luck in Scottsdale. We'll see you in Las Vegas. And I really appreciate your time. And, you know, you're going for number 24. So let's see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, I'd love that. I love that.
Awesome. Jackie Crawford joining us. Jackie, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.